Hey everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations and welcome to the New Moon in Scorpio video. I hope you are all doing well under this new moon event. It's already passed though. Here in Sweden it happened at, if I see it correctly, at 10 to 1 in the afternoon on the 18th. So that was earlier this afternoon. Welcome to this video. I'm really excited to be sharing with you what I see in the astrology and maybe just delivering a message for us all today that really embodies not only the essence of this archetypal shift, but maybe also teaching a little bit about how evolutionary astrology works. So I'm also excited to let everybody know that if you are interested in watching a new moon forecast through the houses, in other words, I created a video where I take the new moon. Can you see over here on the chart? So hold on, let's just do that over there. So this over here, there it is there, that new moon, and everybody, this will land somewhere in your chart. This new moon will land somewhere in your chart. So I created a video where I go through the whole entire house system. So for me, this new moon plus this Venus Jupiter stuff landed in my 10th house, and it's making a trine all the way to the Chiron and to Neptune. So I talk a little bit about how this new moon is affecting you personally in your personal chart, and I created that video series. So if you're interested in wanting to check out what that's about, in the description below I've created a link. Just go ahead and click on the link after this video and it will take you to a page in which you can access this information. Okay, so let's have a look, right? What are we dealing with here firstly? I think it's very important for us to pay attention firstly to the transit of Pluto. Pluto's transit through Capricorn has really been bringing us throughout the last 9 years, going into 10 years, the way in which we as a human race have once identified ourselves. Okay, this is a very key aspect of what I'm talking about here. In the past, we created certain structures, certain boundaries, certain formations, and the way that we as a human race identified ourselves was based on certain truths, certain infrastructures, certain industries, etc. And that all correlates to Capricorn. So does everybody understand what I mean by that when I say that the structure of reality is a Capricorn function? And Pluto has been moving through Capricorn for the last 9 years. And I mean, we're at the end of 2017, so 10 years it's going to be in the sign. And so in the last 10 years, we've been going through a deep purification around what are the structures that we once created that serve the purposes for our evolution and our desires. And that is basically up for review. That's one element of it. The other element of it is that we're dealing with the deepest emotional crystallization, in other words, the deepest emotional layers that we have formed within ourselves for 256 years. And we're basically just dealing with the grief, we're dealing with the sadness, we're dealing with the sorrow, we're dealing with our emotions. And a big part of the story for Pluto and Capricorn is how do we move through purifying our emotions and then aligning our sense of self that is a representation of honest, transparent emotions. Okay, so that's a big deal with Pluto transiting through Capricorn, and of course this is the bottom line. So if we kind of come back more into something that's a little bit more tangible, you can see that the nodal axis, which is the north and south node that's there's the north node, there's the south node. I've got 2 pointers on the chart, by the way, so look at the smaller one. There, the south node's in Aquarius, north node's in Leo, and you can see here that Pluto is making a inconjunct to the north node. So it shows us that regarding this new moon, we're dealing with an evolutionary cycle where we're still breaking away. So south node Aquarius, rebelling from, breaking away from all of the subconscious patterns of behavior and personalized truths and experiences that we've internalized in the past that have defined and shaped the way that we perceive reality. Okay. And this inconjunct between a Capricorn and Leo here, I mean, this is a direct inconjunct. We're dealing with the process of taking down the structures that once served as a purpose, that served for us to fulfill our purpose. Those structures are collapsing, and the alignment with our purpose that has a parent that recreates those boundaries. So what I mean by this is that when you look at a parent and how it parents a child, its main purpose is to create and create and stabilize the child's emotions and sense of inspiration and wonder and excitement into something that has a boundary that can support the child to fulfill its purpose. Just as you would nurture a plant to grow, you would create certain structures around it that would allow the plant to grow in a way that is free and natural for itself. So the inconjunct talks about the necessary adjustment within our lives right now that is taking place, where what is our reality and life purpose, and how do we make decisions that are linked with finding purpose. Okay, so what is your creative purpose? How do you go about making choices that aligns with that purpose? And the context of the South Node is literally just bringing to us all of the subconscious patterns that no longer support our sense of purpose. And when I talk about the word of sense of purpose, what I mean by that specifically is, what is your creative purpose happening in your life right now? How are you self-discovering? And how, as you self-discover, does that adjust and change the boundaries and regulations and laws that you impose on yourself around what you think is correct for you and not correct for you? Okay? So this nodal axis of Leo Aquarius is finding individuality, finding our sense of purpose. The Pluto desire nature is allowing us with a sense of direction. Like, how do we parent our inner child? How do we parent our purpose? How do we be there to support its needs? How do we create the stability necessary for creativity to blossom? Okay. Now you can see at the bottom of the screen here, well, now you're looking at the big cursor, you can see there's a green dot, Uranus opposed Mars gibbous phase. Okay, so let's look at the chart again. We're looking at the small cursor. Sorry to mess you around, guys. So there's Mars, and if you have a look, Mars is at 16 degrees Libra, and it's not actually created here, but it is in what is called a gibbous phase opposition to Uranus. Okay, it's within a 10-degree orb, Mars opposed Uranus. It's approaching the opposition, and it's in a gibbous phase opposition, implying that there is necessary internal adjustments that are occurring for us right now that are going to lead to a need for finding a break between what we have identified as meaning and purpose and what is actual meaning and purpose to you. So this gibbous phase relationship between Mars and Uranus is going to create tension within our psyche of saying, whatever it is that I formed relationships with in the past are no longer allowing my creative process for authenticity and truth to be revealed. That's going to make me feel restrictive. That's going to make me feel blocked. And so I wouldn't be surprised that during this period of time, watch the news, there's going to be a lot of conflict. And you might even experience a little bit of conflict amongst, your family members, partnerships, etc. Simply just because everybody's going through this Mars opposed Uranus thing, and we're all trying to figure out a way to be liberated from the old structures. Okay, so that key word there between this opposition is liberation from the old structures. Now, if you have a look here as well, and now you're looking at the bigger cursor there again. Okay. Right at the bottom of the chart. There we go. Mars and Pluto, and it's called LQ square. See it there? Mars square Pluto. There's Mars over there at the moment, squaring Pluto. There it is there. And the LQ stands for last quarter square. A last quarter square is telling us that the relationship between Mars and Pluto is in a needing to break free symbolism. I want to break free. I want to be liberated from whatever definitions and structures that I once used as the form for me to evolve through are becoming stifling. They're limiting me. And so therefore I need to break free. I want to individuate. So we have Mars opposed Uranus in a gibbous phase opposition, and then we'll be forming an opposition to Uranus. Let's just go ahead and see when that will actually take place. This is going to begin to take place. The actual direct opposition will take place around from the 28th of November. So from around about the 27th, 28th of November, everything's going to become a lot more intense in that sense. However, right now, as I come back to the new moon, we're dealing with Mars squaring Pluto. This last quarter square, like I said, crisis in consciousness. We're receiving the imprints of the future, but we don't have context to it because we haven't acted upon it yet. So it feels very, very like disjointed. It feels like we're not really sure about how to action or go forward. So I'm just encouraging you right now to take your time with new ventures. I know I'm definitely busy doing that with my own work at this stage. Lots of blueprints from the future coming through, but the context of my work right now is, and how I've structured it is still outdated. So as I'm interacting with my new imprints, I'm also being aware of the frustration of the past imprints. So that's how it's working for me personally. So that is an evolutionary dynamic. We're dealing with direct evolution here, again with Mars squaring Pluto, because Mars is the actioning of those desires. I also want to bring it out that Jupiter has been moving through Libra since the end of 2016 and the whole of 2017 up until September, or October, sorry. So Mars is initiating the patterns that were being evolved during the end of 2016 and 2017. Mars is bringing to us the energy of action, and this is the time where energy of action is going to be taking place. Does that make sense? So we're in an action phase, but it's still context versus imprints. That's why it's a crisis in consciousness, because it's like, I have these things, I want to do this, but I'm unable to put it into the practice because they're not making sense. So it's adjustment, adjustment, adjustment. Okay. Then finally, we've got this new phase relationship between Jupiter and Venus. We've got the new moon happening in Scorpio at 26 degrees. So here's a new phase, right? And this symbolism over here is very important. You know, Scorpio is all about regeneration. It's all about the capacity for us to recognize that whatever is not working for us anymore, that we find limitation in, is the energy within that context not available anymore? And do we need to confront these limitations and osmose and merge with something that is going to empower us? So a simple example can be like somebody wants to write, become a writer, and they recognize that the limitation is they can't get a job straight away because they need to go to school or some form of education. So Scorpio is the relationship that we identify the empowerment as. So the writer identifies the college education as the empowerment. So, and then Scorpio merges with that. So we are merging with new values, new cosmological belief systems and ideologies. We're merging with new perspectives. And what are we initiating into? Well, we're initiating into the Mars opposed Uranus transit. We're initiating from the blueprints of the future that are arising with Mars square Pluto. So we have on one hand this cyclic nature of new beginnings arising for us, but it's so incredibly new that we don't really have any context for it. And yet at the same time, we're very frustrated and aware of the limitations of the past. So where this new moon is at, and you can see Mercury is in a balsamic phase to Saturn. Mercury is the fastest moving planet in relationship to Saturn. Therefore, Saturn is the static points in the chart. Mercury's moved all the way around the chart and has reached a culminating phase with Saturn Mercury is the way that we intellectualize things. Saturn is the way that we ground our emotions and allow for new structures to exist. Both of those symbols are ruled by Jupiter, because Jupiter is the planet that rules Sagittarius. And so you see here the culmination of belief systems and intellectualized ways of creating things, the new phase relationship regarding new values. And as we break out into new values and culminate the past, we liberate from the attachments and relationships that were once holding us back. And so for creating evolution here, i.e. new structures, breaking away from the past, leading to new purpose and life direction. Okay? So really, really cool energy at this point in time. And I highly encourage everybody right now that's watching this to go and read the new moon article that's on my website. In fact, in the description and in the comments, there's my website. I've linked to go check that out. And also, if you would like to listen to the new moon through the houses video, in the description and in the comments, there's a link. Go click on that link, and that will take you to that video series that will be available tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow it will be available. So click on the link, sign it up, and tomorrow I will send that video to everybody that's signed up for that video series. Okay. Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do the astrology with you today. I really hope that you enjoyed this. If you like this, share it with people. Hit the like button, because YouTube loves it when people see that they appreciate a video. And if you would like to share with me your story, please feel free to write in the comments below. I love to read it. And as a generator in my human design, I get the opportunity to respond as well. So that also works. All right, my friends. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.